The Amazing MantisX.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in and watching. In this episode, we're going to look at the MantisX. I just got this not too long ago, and before getting it, I watched a number of YouTube videos and read quite a bit online about it. It looks pretty interesting. I opened this thing up, and of course, this is not an unboxing. And the first thing that I see here is a little quick start guide. And it says, Step 1, download the MantisX app from the App Store or Google Play. Well, I have an Android smartphone or mobile device, so I used Google Play to download the free MantisX app. Step 2, attach the MantisX smart sensor to the firearm. And it's going to use a Picatinny rail to do that. And then step 3, open the MantisX app and follow the instructions. Well, I'm like, whoa, what the world? How do I turn it on? What does it do? How do I get it started? Then it says the detailed instruction guide is available in the MantisX app under Settings Instruction Guide. So, not to get too nervous or carried away about it, I don't have a big book. I just followed the guidelines here. And this is the MantisX. Comes in a very nice little case. Inside the case there is a USB connector for charging this thing up. And then right there is the MantisX itself. It's very well protected. I assume this is actually kind of sensitive equipment. You don't want to be dropping it. And that is it right there. This little guy sits on the Picatinny rails of your firearm. This is the front. This is the rear. How do you tell them apart? Well, there is some little grooves that sort of look like they're pointing to the front. That's not the best way though. The best way to determine that is that the rear is where the USB connects. Pretty simple. And then there's this screw right here, of course, secures the MantisX to your firearm. The power button is here, and apparently I touched it and turned it on as I'm fiddling around with it here. I'll go ahead and turn it off and stow it away in the case. Now, I'm a pretty skeptical person about gadgets and such. So I didn't know quite what to expect from it. It's not a terribly expensive thing. Figure about $150 is about the going price for one of these units. As I said, I didn't really know what to expect. Is it really going to be helpful? It was going to be more like a game and kind of, I figured out this thing. No, I know how to beat the MantisX and get a good score. But boy, I'm pretty impressed with this thing, actually. And I call this the Amazing MantisX. I did a lot of dry fire practice through their basic marksmanship course, and that was pretty cool. I was actually trying to figure out this thing to see if I could get it to score really well with a certain style of trigger squeeze. It analyzes 3 different parts of your trigger squeeze. The initial movement, the phase when you're squeezing the trigger, and then when the trigger breaks, the follow-through or the recoil on a live fire type of process. And it obviously is recording all the subtle movements of that firearm at very, very high intervals so that it can really map what you're doing. And I was really amazed that it's tracking so well with what I'm really doing with that firearm. If I just try to do a real quick trigger squeeze, it's finding things, it's seeing what I'm doing. And the really carefully squeezed trigger, good follow through, essentially good shooting practices, hey, it gets me a high score. Now, you can use this with both rifles and pistols. It really seems to be designed for pistols because there's so many things you can do, different training modules that you can do with the pistol. much more basic stuff you can do with the rifle. So what I learned is that this is really looking at trigger squeeze. Really looking at trigger squeeze and how that trigger is breaking and how you're following through, which is really a big battle for good shooting. So it's excellent that way. Well, that's about enough talk. Let's pack things up and head out to the range and try out this MantisX. Now here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take two pistols. One is my FNX 9mm that has a built-in rail. And the second is one of my Springfield Armory 1911s where I'm going to try out installing the MantisX on the base of a magazine. I'm going to try some timed benchmark shooting, 5 shots each, do a few sessions of those, and then I'm going to try some rapid fire and see if the MantisX can track all that action. Now the weather is not too nice out there, so I'm going to bundle up just a little bit. It's kind of on the windy side, so I apologize. We're probably going to be picking up some wind on the video itself. But anyways, then we'll come back in and do a little recap of how things went. I'm going to do a timed benchmark. That might be fun. I'm going to use live fire. Right hand. It's mounted forward on the rail. And this is with the FNX 9. So we should be all set to get going.
$69, $89, $88, $76, $50.
Here is a Wilson Combat mag, and what I did is I purchased a adapter from MantisX. We're going to go ahead and slide this on and then secure it like we would. Make sure it's nice and secure. This is mounted in the forward position. It means the charger port is to the rear. We'll go ahead and load this up, see how it does.
90, 94, 56,
Look bad.
58, 75.
Woo, not very good. What happened on that one? Wow, I did good. Oh, third and fourth were just terrible. That's interesting. All right, let's do some rapid fire. See how well it tracks that. 5 rounds. Aha! 1 round. That's interesting. Rapid fire with the 1911. No. Hold on. There we go. All right. Looks like she's ready. One round. That's a problem. Huh. That's where she has problems. Okay. Well, what do you think? That's live action, and I'm showing you the good, the bad, and maybe the ugly of the MantisX. You know, and didn't catch that rapid fire shooting. And what I've done is I've communicated with the folks at MantisX. They responded very quickly to my email, and they told me, yeah, they realize that that is a problem. It's been reported by other people, and they're working toward fixing it. What does that really mean? Well, you know, remember, the MantisX is really about helping teach you better trigger control. It's almost like you have a personal trainer who's in a little itty-bitty box and kind of talks to you very calmly through your cell phone app. So with that in mind, that this is all about proper trigger squeeze and improving your trigger technique, then I don't know that, that rapid fire stuff is all that important. Yes, it would be great if we got so good with our trigger squeeze that we were getting 95s and 99s even when we're shooting 5 shots over a 1.5 second span. I don't know how realistic that is. So, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but it's still the amazing MantisX. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned, we've got some more great gun videos coming up in the future.